How's it going, everybody? Just a quick check in on the groups. I know you're all aiming for um, billably. We always do a minimum of 15 minutes. With groups, it usually is longer. One on one with clients, it could be a little bit shorter, longer. But you also do these interesting increments of like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 25 minutes, et cetera, et cetera. So I put it out there as we get into some of the things we're doing. I did want to send your info, like how you would diagnose. So when you are a licensed social worker, you do an assessment. And in that assessment, you do a lot of the diagnostic material with folks and see if they qualify for the group that you're leading. So um, there was group work social skills that I was going to show you guys, but it is just like a quick intro here. So let me see where we're at and then go from there real quickly. So that is if you were doing school social work, and there's a good social work group skills that when leading a group, I wanted to. Yeah, a lot of times we use strengths based in groups so we can kind of building rapport, get them on your side. So also knowing your power as a social worker, if it is court ordered, because you have to write the recommendation towards the end. So we start out with All right. So she is covering most the power dynamics here. I wanted to put in some stuff for you guys about, um, in general, when you do diagnosis, and that's on the Golden Thread PowerPoint. Golden Thread. And that shows that we have to make sure that the groups are included in the treatment plan and the goals that we're all doing for our clients that we had just assessed. So going from there, I'll let her continue on about the power dynamics. On the assignment what week that we want? Yes. Yep. On the part that says promote from online? So there's one that's worth a lot, and that's where you actually lead the group. And then there's one that says pick a date and the week you want to lead, and that's like worth less points. Okay, everybody has to do that. Okay. Yeah, just so we've kind of got it organized when you guys. I know we have a speaker Monday. Did you also want to lead Monday, or was that somebody else? Somebody wanted to lead Monday, but I wanted to lead right after her. Right. Monday or Wednesday, you mean? Monday. Okay. Because the speaker said they might only take 15, so we could do 15, 15, 15. Are you sharing your group? Is that what it was? Are you doing the same? Yeah, I got a week. You're doing the same week? No. Okay. I'm not with them. Okay. Oh, but is it those two that are going in front of you? I don't know. I think they were trying to go Wednesday. Wednesday would be good, actually, because if we squeeze 3 in, that'll be tough. But if we did, you can do 3 15-minute ones. It's just this speaker is from the NASW to tell you guys how to join. It's free for students and all the benefits you get Monday. Okay. So they were thinking Wednesday. Okay. Let me see if the golden thread is in here. There it is. Hey, I wonder if it lets me, okay, it does let me share. Can I just type in my email? Yeah, share it to myself. Let's see if that works. So I was getting into how we as social workers, obviously the whole thing's about leading groups, but how do we diagnose them to get them into the group in the first place? And that will be this if it emails to me. Let me check. Ooh, that sounds like nails on the chalkboard. We don't even have chalkboards anymore. So yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. It does say PowerPoint from me. But one of these computers doesn't have audio, so I was working on it and testing it out. There is no audio. Oh, it lets me start a slideshow. When do you do your internship? Next, maybe my spring, because I think I'm doing the UPP program, but I had to take. Oh, right. First. So I'm going to take those 2 classes next fall. Okay. And then after that, I'll be ready to enter where I need to. That's good. Where do I want to do it at? I'm not sure. It sounds like it'll be at Child Protective Services. If you're UPP, that's how you get the money, and that's fine. That'll be a good, rich experience, and you'll do this stuff there too. So it's basically called clinical documentation. We're going to train all of our people, even you as interns, how to do this. And it's lengthy. You see how many slides there are there? Oh, yeah. But here's the gist of it. I can break it down to you in 7. Basically, what are the clinically appropriate services? Are you taking her class online right now? Mm-hmm. Are you taking UPP online right now? I haven't even started any classes. I was going to do it next fall. Okay. I might try to offer a section online in the summer. For the UPP classes? I am. She wants to teach them in person, but I feel like most people want them online, so I just want to try to teach it online in the summer. But I don't know if you take summer or not. Some of you guys get approved for summer money, and some of you don't. Oh, I know they got summer money, but you just have to, It's usually your Pell Grant, and therefore classes are almost totally free. which is weird. You just got to tell them.
They were free. You could take free classes, but then people were like, no, they're not free.
It's not. It's a Pell Grant. So it's using up your Pell Grant, but if you're only here 4 years, it doesn't matter. You get up to 6 years on a Pell Grant in undergraduate. But if you're like struggling along and take 6 years to finish, do you take out any student loans?
I think so.
Right. Grant is just what you don't pay back. The loans are what you do pay back. That's the difference. This chair really sucks. I'm finally going to give up on it. I'm going to get rid of these chairs. So, it's good if you're like a big lounger. I don't think that's helpful for you. Okay. I'm just going to start this so you see when you do UPP what you'll be doing for paperwork. You do write a case note. Basically, as a social worker, you do clinically appropriate services. So say a client comes to you, maybe their school refers you, they come in, you see them. DAF stands for Diagnostic Assessment of Functioning. I hate that they use that. They should just call it an assessment. It's a lot easier. So that's the first touch. You see them. You then, as a social worker, find what the clinically appropriate services are. One of them could be groups. ISP is another dumb. It stands for Individualized Service Plan. I like just calling them a treatment plan. Most places call it a treatment plan. What are you working on in counseling? What are you working on with your social worker? And then you review it every 6 or 12 months, depending. And you write progress notes every time you see them. You do collaborative documentation when you get efficient. Like I do that now because you write, yes.
Am I going to have to be sitting down all day, or is this like a move around type of thing?
You might be doing this as home visits. I hate sitting down all day.
That's what I want.
And that's why I never did do, say, for example, clinical psychology. Now it's funny because on Monday I do sit down for I have a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I do sit for those. I try to finish it in 45 or 50 minutes, and then I go walk, and then I come and see them, and I go walk. And that's also why you want to do this collaborative stuff. Collaborative documentation means you're writing the paperwork with your client before you finish. That way at like 9:45 or 10:00 you go out and walk. I do that job for 5 hours on Monday because it could be $60 an hour. I'm willing to sit for that. You know, that's decent money, 60, 70 an hour. I'll sit my ass down. I hate it. You can even see it on my steps. That's my off day on steps. It's the orange one. I don't know if you ever do a step counter. Well, today's orange too, but I get about 2.5 miles. No, it's 3 miles. I have 3.5 today. I normally try to keep it at an average of 40 miles a week, but I sit my ass down and I hate it. But for $60 an hour, I will sit my ass down. You know what I'm saying? That sounds fair enough. You might not. You might, for like the half an hour to 45 minutes, you're writing an assessment. Yeah, then you're going to get back in your car, drive, maybe pick up lunch on the way back to the office, then go write your notes. So there is typing. If you want to make the big bucks, I always say it this way. You can either, you can push paper, which sucks, but if you learn how to write good notes and push some paper and write it well, you're going to get paid well for it. And that way, maybe you'll get your job done in 4 or 5 hours a day and have 3-4 hours to go run miles and miles and miles.
So then I do have another question. So what would the internship look like? Like, do you have an idea what they might even have us doing there?
I don't, but most internships are like a job. Average jobs have you see maybe a few clients every day, 3 or 4, and then write notes for the other time. And then that's it. So maybe, do you need a car for UPP? Is that part of the deal?
That's what I would think so.
If you need a car, that's telling me you're going out and doing home visits. I've always liked home visits. I always have. For whatever reason. It gets you out. You're not sitting in the same damn spot all day long. I hate that. I can't do it. Maybe you can. But I'm not the one for that. So, but you do sit down for your paperwork. I love doing the collaborative documentation with my client because it also cuts down my sitting time. Because in the old days, I'd see 20 clients a week and then wait till Friday at 2 or 3 o'clock and then try to write all my notes, 20 notes in 2-3 hours. But that sucked too. So what collaborative documentation is at the end, you review your goals like, all right, what are you working on? Do you want to change your goal? Do you want to add a new goal or take any away? And then that's it. So that way it's not as bad. And so here's the next piece. This just talks about how 13 years ago, I would say don't get a job in social work. There are no jobs. But in June 2011, the passage of the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, it gave money for everyone to see a counselor, a social worker, a family therapist. When you do assessments, this is what it looks like. So you first see them and assess them. That might take 35 to 45 minutes. Then you write a treatment plan and have goals and objectives there. Then every time you see them after that, you have a note. So what's your understanding of being a social worker before, like, we tell you about it all? Like, you see a client, make some goals, work on them and meet with it.
I didn't really have a really big idea for real of what they were really doing.
Okay.
I kind of had to go out and do like some research or whatever.
Yeah. Have you seen some of those day in the life of videos that they show? Those are kind of real. Do some of them say you do sit down the whole?
I feel like some of them are kind of helpful. Everybody has like a different way of doing it. But for the most part, everybody just kind of sees people have different files they go through.
Mm-hmm.
Have a lot of phone calls and stuff like that.
Yes.
With some of their clients.
I like to do those while I'm driving too. That way you like maximize your efficiency.
I do like that it's all like mostly done in the morning time.
There is a lot done in the morning. You're right. You could get it done in the morning.
Like staying like late shift. It's like a regular, like get up at 8, 9, be out 4, 5.
There's some that are late shifts and they will pay you a lot more money. So it's up to you. Like, what do you want? A normal 9 to 5? There's plenty. Where do you want to get paid more and work third shift? Some people don't. That's okay. That's why they pay more. Hospice pays $70,000 a year. They do have most of theirs 9 to 5. You are on call every so often. Like if somebody's dying, you go sit with them.
Oh, the hospice though.
So, and we'll get into a lot of this as we go through. But sometimes as a social worker, you do the intake packet. Sometimes you have a secretary who does that. That's amazing when you do. It just depends on the agency. You will do the assessments, and ISP is the treatment plan, and you do write the progress notes because that's how you get paid. At my old job, we didn't get paid till we wrote a progress note. So that's why it was key to write that note like at the last 6 minutes of seeing the client. You always wrote your notes. When you got it done, you were done. And then you also need to remember to transition them or discharge them. So here is the DAF. They call it a DAF. I hate that word. I like it as assessment. Have you ever heard of assessments? For some reason, you're assessing somebody for what their unmet needs are, how you can help and provide services. So DAF is an assessment. It identifies symptoms, consumer personal goals, stressors, strengths, skills, functional deficits. It determines a diagnosis, which drives the services. It recommends services and interventions for the client. It assists in the development of goals that address treatment needs. So like if they say their mom has a strained relationship with them, you might develop a goal to assist in improving your and mom's relationship, if that makes sense. So it also establishes like a baseline. Oh, I skipped one. So they update anytime you add a new service. Maybe you then want to work on the relationship with dad or in school, and then you add those. And that's why I say every time you meet, you say, like, are there new goals? And then if you see the client longer than a year or 6 months here, I guess with kids, you update it more often. I see a lot of adults now. It's every 12 months. With kids, you update it every 6 months. So update will review the old assessment information, highlight any changes, and then you have one that's a year old. If there's no clinically significant changes, you can review the service provision. So you're just like seeing, are they still working on the goal with mom? Are they still doing those things?
Which one was the easier for you to work with, children or adults?
When I was younger, I felt more comfortable with kids. As I got older and had different life experiences, I feel like I could talk with people about those life experiences. That's just like me personally. I mean, you're trained to work with anybody right out of the gate. So it's entirely up to you. I feel like they kind of give you shit if you're a 26-year-old.
That's one thing. That's one thing I've been thinking about. Like, I always thought I wanted to work with adults coming out, just because like I feel like working with them, the communication process is a little bit more smoother than working with children. Because you have to deal with their parents.
Right.
Whatever you tell them to go back to their
It
parents.
could
It's
be.
like you got like double client instead of
You do.
But then,
I did that for years.
Older people are more headstrong, but like younger children are like, it's easier for people. I'm like, well, you might be wrong. They be like, oh, you're the adult, so yes, I might be wrong.
Right. And I do like with kids a lot is out of the school. So maybe you do take the time to see them while you're at school and you don't see the parents as much. You certainly can work with them, especially if that's a part of it, but you don't always have to. This is how you bill, and this is kind of what I was talking about. Like if you did a therapy group, Medicaid gives us an hour a week, so it's 52 hours a year, and then case management is also CPST. It's Community Psychiatric Supportive Therapy. You get 104 hours a year to bill for that. They just raised their rates. Like in my private practice, it was $89 an hour. Now they pay us $109 an hour, and I get 2/3 of that. So actually, I guess we do get like $67 an hour to see those clients, or $69. And then if you did case management, you could do up to 3 hours a week with a client, is what that's saying. You could see them 3 hours a week. That happens a lot with kids. Like if you're running a group and you're seeing them individually in therapy, and maybe you do case management stuff, connecting them to their doctor, psychiatrist, whatever. So they say that because services beyond those hours, an hour a week of therapy, 2 hours of case management, they might audit you, which is fine if you're providing good services. If you're just screwing around, they audit you like, we don't think you need that many hours with this one kid. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, you're seeing them too much. And if it's $109 an hour going to your agency, of course they're going to audit. They're going to be like, we just paid $400 a week to see this kid, and we think that he's probably good by now.
So when you did your internship or your shadowing in your master's program, was it paid?
There are some nowadays. Most of them back then were not paid. I got mileage and I lived off student loans, which really sucked. I probably worked a job, got mileage paid, and that was it, and took out a student loan or a scholarship. I do know of paid ones now. Nikita might know too. Like it changes every year, so she might know the most updated. Have you guys heard of paid ones?
Not really. Nobody really talks about like paid even for now.
Because it's a secret too. It's almost like nobody wants to give up their secret.
Okay.
Sounds like UPP, they do pay you like with the sign-on bonus right at the end of your internship. So that's exciting.
Oh.
So you do the 2 classes, you do your internship at CPS, you get $5,000 right out of the gate. The day after graduation,
So
you can start working.
Okay, so when I do, so if I do UPP, I have to intern at Child Welfare Services.
That's what I do believe is true. So intern and then work 1 year, and then you can.
And then, so after I intern and graduate, I'll get the money. Then I have to work. Or
Yeah, and you'll get paid to work.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So you intern. That's 3.5 months. If you graduate May 15th and start with them May 16th, it sounds like you get the money to like buy startup, whatever it is, and you just work for them for a year. If you do not like it, you could go somewhere else in a year. It's going to be a good experience no matter what. Like you're going to learn everything about social work. Has Karen explained that, or she just said you want to do UPP and that's where you guys left it at?
I talked to her a little bit about it. It was like a couple of months ago, but then I stopped talking about it. I was just like, there's so many bad stigmas about like children's services.
Right. Sure. I'm sure they'll train you and have protections in place so that you're not going to experience those. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole idea. Like, but the overall idea is safety for kids and reunification of the family. Like those are the overall main goals. Maybe mom and dad have to go out to rehab. Maybe they need to get services to get like food in the house. Maybe they're in foster care and things of that nature. If that's answering any of your questions. Right. Yeah, a lot of people do that for their first job because it teaches you the ins and outs of social work for real. Because when you're an adult, you don't like have protective services in place. When you're old, they got adult protective services. You ever heard of that?
I know. Yeah, like they have
APS.
For the elderly.
Where,
like,
yeah.
Other people are getting taken care of by their family, but the family isn't doing a good job of taking care of them.
Right, protecting the elderly.
So.
Actually, I'm going to do treatment plan next week. That's what we get into next. Somehow, there it is.
So should I submit my PowerPoint now, or should I wait after I present it?
You can submit it now if you want. That way, it just like at least